invited my friend's mom to join me for this activity in the sauna. I clearly remember that evening that on a brisk, refreshing winter's night, my friend graciously invited me to his warm and inviting home. We had been looking forward to this moment, a chance to relax and reconnect, after a busy week. His house had always been a haven of solace, yet this time an unforeseen delight was in store for us. Recently, his family had a sauna installed, having never experienced a sauna before. I was filled with eager anticipation and a sense of curiosity. A friend of mine noted that his mother, Isabella, would probably lead us through the process, as she was quite knowledgeable in these areas. In that instant, it barely crossed my mind. When I arrived, my friend welcomed me with open arms, and we engaged in a delightful conversation for some time. He then let me know that he needed to step out for a moment to take care of an errand for his dad, but he reassured me that I could go ahead and use the sauna without him. He asserted that his mother would be available should I have any inquiries. Even though I felt somewhat uncomfortable, I went along with it. As I walked towards the sauna, I came across Isabella in the hallway. She welcomed me with her familiar, inviting smile and asked if I intended to use the sauna. I nodded, sharing that her son had urged me to proceed. Her eyes glimmered with a touch of playful intrigue as she remarked, "You're going to love it. Allow me to demonstrate how it functions." I felt a sense of relief having her guidance, as I was rather lost when it came to saunas. She guided me to the quaint wooden structure nestled at the rear of their home. Upon entering, Isabella detailed the process of adjusting the heat, highlighted the necessity of maintaining hydration, and offered insights on enhancing the overall experience. Her voice flowed like a gentle breeze, soothing and captivating, drawing you in with its enchanting quality. I couldn't help but notice the tranquility that enveloped her. The way her hair delicately framed her face and how her eyes lingered on mine just a moment longer than needed. Her energy had a unique quality that enveloped me in comfort, while simultaneously stirring a sense of unease within. She paused for a moment before saying, "You'll be fine on your own. Simply unwind and savor the experience." She paused at the threshold, a fleeting moment of doubt washing over her as she cast a glance back, her shoulder turning slightly in the process. She spoke slowly, suggesting, "It's better if you remove your clothes to allow the heat to work effectively. Otherwise, it won't achieve its complete impact." A peculiar blend of anxiety and exhilaration surged through me. I was taken aback by her words, yet they resonated with clarity. Turned out to be a sauna after all. She smiled, and with that, she walked out, leaving me alone in the sauna. I paused for a moment, uncertain of my next steps, but ultimately chose to heed her counsel. I took off my shirt and pants. The warmth enveloped me, soothing my muscles and melting away the stresses of the day. After a few moments, the door let out a soft creak as it opened. Isabella cautiously leaned in and inquired if all was well. I expressed to her that it was absolutely perfect, and that I was truly enjoying it. She entered, shutting the door softly behind her, and took a seat on the bench beside me. "Do you mind if I join you for a little while?" she inquired, her tone light, yet there was a spark in her eyes, a hint of mischief that sent my heart racing. I nodded, attempting to maintain my composure, yet within me surged a wave of adrenaline. She positioned herself near me, perhaps a tad too near, yet I found it agreeable. The warmth enveloped us, creating a dreamy atmosphere, as if we existed in a realm of our own. We engaged in conversation for some time about life, the pressures of work and school, and about nothing in particular. The dialogue unfolded effortlessly, yet an undercurrent of tension lingered, an unvoiced attraction bubbling just beneath the surface. At one moment, Isabella rested her hand on my arm. Just for a brief instant her touch was soft, almost tender, and I found myself leaning in slightly, drawn to her in a way I couldn't quite articulate. She observed, naturally, and her lips formed a delicate smile. "You're tense," she said softly, her fingers gliding gently over my skin. "Allow yourself to unwind." Her voice enveloped me, calming and entrancing, as I found myself surrendering to the warmth, to her very essence. As she moved nearer, I felt my heart quicken, each pulse echoing in my chest like a steady drumbeat. The environment beyond faded away, leaving only the two of us enveloped in that close, warm embrace. I looked into her eyes, observing a glimmer I hadn't noticed previously, a hint of desire, maybe even yearning. My breath caught in my throat as she gradually slid her hand higher, coming to rest on my thigh. It gets lonely up here in the cabin, especially when Phil's dad is away for work, she murmured, her gaze fixed intently on mine. My determination started to falter. I understood that this was inappropriate on multiple fronts. Phil was my closest friend and this was his mother. Yet, there was something in the way she gazed at me, the subtle hints she was offering as if she desired me to fulfill her wishes. The gentle caress of her fingers against my skin rendered my thoughts a tangled mess. I felt my pulse quicken as her hand continued its journey, her touch light and teasing. Isabella, I started, my voice raspy, but she quieted me with a gentle shush, placing a single finger against my lips. Don't say anything, she whispered, leaning in so close that I could feel her breath on my skin. Simply relish this. Before I realized it, her lips were on mine, soft and warm, with a subtle hint of the wine she'd enjoyed earlier. The kiss unfolded slowly with intention, and I felt myself surrendering to it completely. Her hand slipped beneath my clothing, teasing and igniting a fire within me, intensifying with every passing moment. Her body pressed against mine, enveloping me in a moment that erased all other thoughts. I lost control and began to take away her towel. Her form was exquisite, and I found myself unable to resist the temptation to explore further. I engaged in that for at least 10 minutes, and she appeared to be truly enjoying it. She seized the moment, directing my instrument and leading it into her sanctuary. She started to ride me as though I were her steed, utterly in command. My hands rested on her hips, and she was undeniably relishing the experience. I couldn't tell you how long we lingered in that state, completely absorbed in the experience, as time melted away under the sauna's warm embrace. All I knew was that I couldn't stop kissing her, couldn't stop moving. My hands glided over her body, discovering tantalizing. Each touch, each sigh she released, sent ripples of unexpected pleasure coursing through me. Once we completed our task, she gazed at me with a playful smile, her fingers gently outlining my jaw. We probably shouldn't stay in here too long, she said softly, yet her actions conveyed a contrasting narrative. However, I believe we still have a bit of time left. I understood her intention, and despite my desire to push back, I found myself unable to do so. She had an undeniable allure, a force that captivated me even with all the logical reasons to retreat. I felt her hands on my chest, gliding down my arms, her touch sparking a fire within me that mirrored the heat of the sauna. There was no turning back now, no halting the unavoidable as we surrendered to the moment, to one another. The world beyond vanished entirely, leaving only the sensation of her body pressed against mine, the rhythm of our lips dancing together. Everything felt perfectly aligned, despite its unexpected nature. For the next few minutes, we lingered in a haze of heat and desire, our bodies entwined, the lines of right and wrong fading away. In that moment, it was just the two of us, consumed by an intense desire to continue, to delve into whatever this connection was that we shared. At last, Isabella shattered the stillness again, her voice gentle yet resolute. We ought to leave before Phil starts searching for us, she remarked. Her words hit me like a wave, bringing an overwhelming sense of reality crashing down. Phil, my closest companion. What was I thinking? As she rose, smoothing her towel and casting me one final lingering glance, I realized this was far from over. Something lingered between us now, an undeniable presence that neither of us could overlook.